you're getting patient contact, but you're really seeing in terms of what is the life and work of a PT about, as
Right.
opposed to life and work of a physician. Well, hello, Emma. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us for Am I Ready tonight? And we're going to look at all your stuff, and we're going to try to talk about everything and then make a determination about kind of where things stand. And so it's very exciting to have you here. Where are you calling from?
I live in Dallas, Texas, but I go to school in Oklahoma. I go to OU.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry about that. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. I live in Austin, and so I'm a Longhorn, and so we don't like you people.
I know.
I'm totally kidding, of course. But it's nice to have you here. I lived in Dallas for many years, and so I am very familiar with the Dallas area. And a lot of people from Dallas go up to OU. So I'm sure you have some friends there from Dallas that you have as peers there at OU as well. So that's awesome.
Definitely.
Good. Well, what we're going to do first of all is look at your GPA graph and talk a little bit about the type of student that you are. And what we see here on the graph is that you're a really good student. Cumulative GPA 3.95, science GPA 3.94. We see a graph here that is a little deceptive, and that is because the scale is truncated. So we have essentially a 3.55 up to 4.0 scale. So you've been a really good student. So if we look at this, you've been a great student all along, but you seem to be even getting better and better as you go along. So I'm sure you're pleased about that.
Yes, for sure. I definitely attempted to figure it out after my first semester freshman year, and I think I've done pretty well with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what's your major?
My major is health and exercise science now, but I started out as just a flat out biology major and found health and exercise science the beginning of my sophomore year. And it really fits with like what I would like to study, I guess. It makes sense with the human body, and I love exercise. I'm a big Peloton person, and so yeah, it fits well.
Nice. Very cool. Who's your favorite Peloton? What do they call those people?
Instructor.
Yeah, instructor. Who's your favorite?
My favorite is Hannah Marie Corbin. She and I do lots of rides together.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
I have a really good friend who loves Peloton as well, and her favorite is I can't remember his name. Is it Cody something or?
Yes, Cody Rigsby. Yes.
Yes, Cody Rigsby. Yes, that's her favorite. She loves him,
awesome.
And she does all kinds of workouts with him and stuff. So yeah. It's pretty funny. Well, great. Well, I obviously, Emma, you're a great student, and the encouragement that I have there is just, keep it up, keep up in your game and doing well, and I think you're doing a great job of showing that you're an excellent student, that you have great study skills, and that you're not afraid to really perform at an extremely high level, particularly at a school like OU, where we say a lot of jokes and stuff about OU, but University of Oklahoma is a great school, and the competition there is pretty intense, and so I would say keep it up. You're doing great on that part. So excellent.
For sure. Thank you. That's the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's shift over to looking at your activities, and want to kind of look at that. So if you go over to the left to your activities tab and click on that, and why don't you kind of just walk us through a little bit of this and tell us kind of what you've been up to.
Okay. Do you want me to start top or bottom, or do you care?
It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'll start with the one that's more like has the most hours.
Okay.
So I'm a physical therapy tech at
Mhm.
a local physical therapy office in Oklahoma City.
Uh-huh.
And you can see, like, you can read my kind of description that I've written here. And it's
Uh-huh.
a more specific description that I think I'll probably transfer definitely part of the story from here to my personal statement.
Okay. Okay.
But I've also kind of, I think I've started like the activity description of it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just kind of, this is my like beginning, I guess. This is
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
first draft of
Yeah.
those things.
Sure, sure. Well, and describe for us a few minutes for just shortly what is it about this that you really enjoy about your work as a physical therapy technician?
100% obviously the patients,
Hmm.
because we see like a wide variety of patients. So we see it from little kids to elderly who have different complex conditions that we look at and help them move better. For like, for example, like osteoporosis, we have a lot of patients who that's one of their problems, and so we
Hmm.
teach them how to move in a way that's safe and effective and keeps their range of motion good as it can. And just a lot of the little wins are the best part of this job, because you can see how quickly someone can recover from a surgery and how much progress they make in such a little amount of time. And you're getting to teach them how to do these exercises, and it's just overall it's a great experience.
Excellent.
Wider dynamic.
Yeah. So the first question that comes to mind with this, and I'd like for you to kind of address this a little bit, is that so have you thought about physical therapy as a career?
So I originally toyed with it when I was like in high school, and
Hmm.
then I decided, there's obviously multiple experiences that went into this decision of medical school and a doctor being the ultimate goal.
Right.
And however, I can definitely tell you that I feel, I guess, limited in the scope of practice that physical therapists do. I don't I don't really want to just rehab someone. I would like to kind of see them through the beginning, like part of it. So envisioning a physical therapy patient who's had surgery, like
Hmm.
I love surgery. I've had experiences where I've been able to watch surgery, and like that seems definitely down a path that I'm interested in.
Hmm.
And I guess it's just ultimately that's what I'm more interested in, if
Okay.
that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, and the reason I asked that is that if I were an interviewer at a medical school and I was interviewing you, that's the question I would ask.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have a necessarily an agenda with the question. I would just be interested in knowing,
Okay.
is this a career that you had examined? Obviously, you enjoy the work that you're doing with as a technician there, but and to hear you sort of think through or talk through the thought process that you had with regard to that and how that has played into your bigger picture, the bigger story of your interest in medicine, et cetera. So it's good that you've thought about that, and that you just be prepared as you go along through the process. That would be an obvious question to ask in an interview setting, or that you might want to even address, preemptively in a
Right.
personal statement, or your activity description, or whatever, that kind of address that one issue that could come up. So yeah, absolutely. All
For
right,
sure.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's keep talking about your activities.
Okay. So let's go back. Let's do this one next. So, oh, there it goes. So this is a well house assistant. This
Hmm.
is, I worked at a camp for kids with special needs in Missouri. It's called Camp Barnabas. And
Hmm.
this is their medical center that's on camp. And I basically was like what you would call like a CNA at
Hmm.
there, but
Hmm.
I don't have CNA credentials, but I was trained on the job there to basically patient intake. So symptoms, temperatures, pull the chart, just general information. And then I worked with the nurses and the doctors there. And I just kind of did whatever they needed me to do. And it was an amazing experience. I had volunteered there, but as like a traditional volunteer. So where we're one-on-one with like campers. And so this was experiencing camp through a different dynamic. And I absolutely loved it. It was amazing to provide like, I would call it comfort and care, because when the campers would come in, they could relax there and kind of get their bearings about them, because we worked with kids from like age 8 all the way up to adults who were like age 30. And we worked with a wide array of disabilities, people who were like deaf, blind, who had Down syndrome, or let's see, what else? Cerebral palsy, just a wide array of disabilities. And it was just amazing to see camp through this perspective.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Oh, that sounds like it was an awesome experience.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that's crazy good. Good. So that's definitely clinical experience there for sure.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yeah. And we can move on. Any others that you want to point out? Looks like you've got a little bit of shadowing.
Yes. So this is kind of just a traditional shadowing experience at a hospital. One question I did have is I have some shadowing. I have a lot of shadowing hours from high school, like probably 300 because of a high school program that I was involved in.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to put that in my application because it wasn't in college.
Right. So really the only way that you can really talk about that is in the narrative. So in your personal statement, in secondary essays, you won't be able to enter that in as activities or something, because all they want to see is post high school, everything post high school. So, but if you wanted to, for example, if that was pretty instrumental in you kind of wanting to go into medicine, then I would definitely, have that as at least a part of your personal statement. Maybe a sentence or two about how in high school you did this, shadowing experience or whatever, blah, 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 and how instrumental it was and interesting you, and et cetera. So that would be really the only way to cover that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Back. I would say this is one of my this is another volunteer experience that was, I'd say partially clinical and then partially non-clinical. The clinical side was that we were a free clinic that offered free pregnancy tests.
Okay.
And so women could come in and get a pregnancy test and get the results right away. And then the second step of care, you would say, we had a nurse come in once a week, and she would provide free ultrasounds for women who were under 12 weeks pregnant. So kind of that very initial ultrasound.
Yeah.
And then we referred them out to just OBGYNs and doctors from there.
Okay.
So it was I love the experience because women's health is something I am very passionate about and absolutely love. And so I definitely cultivated some relationships through that experience. And it was really cool to see these moms succeed and step into their new roles. And I really loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great experience. Perfect. Good. So you're getting a lot of varied experiences, which is awesome.
Yes, that's the goal.
Right.
Yes. And it definitely plays into all of my interests and things that I've been interested in for a while. It's not just random things that I chose, but I really love them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else? Is there more than one page or just this one page?
No,
Or?
it's just this one page.
Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 Yeah, this sounds really good. I like a lot of it. Extracurricular activities, particularly the clinical stuff that you've had experiences with. That's awesome, and really gives an indication that you know what a clinical setting looks like. You know what it's all about. You know what happens there. I'm a little concerned that the majority of your clinical work is with in the physical therapy clinic,
Okay.
and not as much with physicians as it is with you're getting patient contact, but you're really seeing in terms of what is the life and work of a PT about, as
Right.
opposed to life and work of a physician. And
Okay.
you have other things that are sort of you've got some shadowing hours, and that's been helpful. And obviously, talking about those that you had in high school will be helpful as well. So what I would say is one thing that you might want to try to do, and obviously it's kind of tough these days with the pandemic and all, is maybe some additional shadowing hours with physicians. It looks like you had some right before COVID started.
Yeah, exactly.
With Dr. Carter. And what kind of doctor is Dr. Carter?
He was internal medicine. So,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I saw a lot of different cases with him for sure.
Yeah. So I would, just what I would do is maybe over the course of the next, in the spring semester, as you have the ability to reach out, networking is very important. And if you can get some more shadowing hours or some additional clinical hours with physicians, that would be, I think beneficial. I certainly don't think that this is a big hole or a big red flag in your application, but I think that I'm always trying to think of how is an admissions committee going to view this, or how is a interviewer going to look at this, and so I would say, if you have opportunities in the spring to kind of broaden that contact with physicians, that might be beneficial.
Okay, perfect. That's great advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's go back to your dashboard and go down to the MCAT part. Now, it looks like now. Let me just say, now your intention is to apply when?
This cycle.
Coming cycle.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the MCAT. You haven't done it yet, I'm assuming.
Correct. I've taken 2 practice tests.
Okay. Okay. And how have those gone?
So my first one was like a 496, and my second one was a 503.
Okay.
So
good.
On the correct trend.
So. Oh yeah, absolutely. So the 496 was sort of a diagnostic kind of thing.
Correct.
Yeah, good. Well, I actually think a 496 as an initial diagnostic is not bad at all. Yeah. There's a lot of people that would love that, and as an initial point to grow from. Now, how are you studying for the MCAT? Are you doing it on your own? Are you taking a class, or what's that all about?
I've started doing it on my own. I have the UWorld QBank. I have the Kaplan books. And then I have the Blueprint practice tests. So
okay, good. So you're doing something that is very common, which is kind of a mixture of everything and kind of pulling together a variety of types of resources. So that's great. You've got a good study plan in place, I assume.
Yes, with Blueprint, I made out my cool study schedule. It's very nice.
Good. That's great. Now you're sort of anticipating taking it later this spring.
Yes, my anticipated date is the beginning of April.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, I would definitely say that, keeping in mind, that taking as many practice tests as possible is really important. You want to get a good sense of the way that questions are asked. You want to get a good sense of timing on the questions, how long you can spend on any given passage, and and also really just getting your stamina built up. Both the physical as well as the emotional, mental stamina is really important. And the best way to do that is, the full length practice test, keeping in mind that you want to try to mirror as much as possible the way that the test is going to be given. So, for example, don't always take your practice tests at home where there's no distractions. You want to have to do it, go to the school library or, somewhere where you can't really control too much what's going on around you. And because the same thing's going to happen at the testing center when you take the exam. It's going to be, there will be issues. I can almost guarantee. And then also, once you know when your test time is, if it's early in the morning, try to take some of those practice tests early in the morning. If it's later in the day, try to do them. So just kind of getting yourself ready for what you're going to be facing as much as possible can be very helpful. And so keep that in mind. And do you have a certain goal sort of set for yourself in terms of MCAT score?
So yeah, I think for sure I want like a 510 or above, which I think is hopefully pretty realistic with where I'm starting. So
yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds really good. Okay, and now do you have listed and mapped any medical schools that you're already interested in?
Yes.
Okay, let's look at those. So I'm assuming you're going to apply to most, if not all, of the schools in Texas.
Yes, because I do believe that I have in-state residency, even though I go to college in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's correct. You do not lose your residence by virtue of leaving the state for educational purposes. Okay. So you're fine. You're fine on that. Yep.
Awesome. Good. So yes, that's kind of where I'm headed. I would love to stay in Texas because I would like to be close to my family. So yes, those are obviously this is my region that I would like to be in.
Yeah. And it's a heck of a lot cheaper to go to school in Texas.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it looks like you're applying to both DO and MD schools.
Yes, definitely.
So that's good. Good. Yeah, it looks like you've got a good set of schools. You've identified the Texas schools plus some others that you're kind of interested in outside of the state. It's just as an aside, Kansas City, the osteopathic school at Kansas City is where my primary care doctor went to school. And
awesome.
And he is great. He's just a wonderful doctor, and I really enjoy getting to interact with him, and he's just been so good. And so I think highly of that school, if for no other reason that they produced him. So that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, right. Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. Good. Well, it sounds like you're looking at it the right kind of way, broadening yourself. I definitely think for a Texas resident, apply to every school. The good thing about the Texas Application Service, TMDSAS, is that there's one application fee and you can apply to as many or as few schools as you want. So my encouragement always to Texas residents is to apply to just apply to all of them. It doesn't cost you any more. Just click all the boxes and be willing to go, wherever you get in, and hopefully you'll end up having choices, and that'd be the best way. But just applying everywhere. I remember in the past, I would counsel students who had applied, who were Texas residents and who had applied to, let's say 5 of the 10 schools in Texas, or maybe they would apply to all of them except for 2. And I would ask them, tell me why did you not apply to, let's say, El Paso, for example? Mm-hmm. And the answer would be, well, I'm just, it's way out there in the west of Texas, and I'm just not really interested in living in El Paso, and blah, blah, blah. And my response to that was, so in other words, what you're saying is you'd rather not be a doctor than live in El Paso for 4 years. And they were like, oh, wait, well, no, that's not it at all. And that's the message I'm getting,
That's how it sounds. Yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of consider that, as part of
For
what,
sure.
but, and, at the time, this was when I was at UT Southwestern, and I would say that, and they would just look dumbfounded. And, they had never thought of it in that way. But as an admissions officer, that was my first reaction was,
Yeah, you're like, duh.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely. Well, all in all, what I'd say, Emma, is that things are looking really good for you. I'm really encouraged by a lot that I've seen here. Obviously, you're an excellent student. Keep up the good work in the classroom. That is so beneficial to applicants. Keep on the plan for MCAT study. If you can match your great academic work in the classroom with a strong MCAT score, which, starting off with a 497, if you put in some good work on studying and stuff, my expectation would be that you're going to do well. So that's encouraging, and you've got a lot of great experiences in terms of your activities. I mean, we talked briefly about the maybe trying to expand the contact with physicians, but beyond that, I really think, I mean, all in all, to answer the big question, which is, am I ready? I think you're ready. I mean, I would not suggest, in any way delaying or whatever. I think you got a good plan in terms of what you're doing. And so I would encourage you to keep moving forward and keep up the good work. And my expectation would be with what I'm seeing from you, that you're going to get, a good number of interviews, and that you'll do well in the process. That would certainly be my expectation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's great to hear.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, check out the resources there at OU in the pre-med advising office. And if for no other reason than, to bounce stuff off of them in terms of your personal statement, and that, they'll be willing to read that. And then whatever letter process they have, definitely take advantage of that. And, but all in all, I think things are looking pretty good for you, Emma.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Well, good. That's
Yes.
great. Well, keep up the good work. And do you have any questions or anything to end out with?
I think you answered my two main questions that I had coming in, which were just about residency, Texas residency, and then about high school hours. And that was about it.
Good. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you so much for all the feedback. It was great. I will definitely put it to good use.
Good. Excellent.